All right, thank you to the candidates. At this point, we're going to open the floor to questions. Now, what we would like you to do, if you don't mind, please, is to form a line in the center aisle. Paul, I believe, will be coming with the microphone. Okay. So you can ask a specific question to one candidate. Each candidate will get a chance to answer the question as well, or you can ask a general question to all of the candidates. So with that, we turn to the floor.
Thank you very much. My name is Mona Hill. I'm here as a representative of Amnesty International in Regina. My question, preceded by a little bit of information for those who are not aware, has to do with land rights of Indigenous people in Canada. And I would like to preface that with a thank you and respect for the fact that we are on Treaty 4 land, and respect for the treaties that we have signed with Indigenous peoples. The situation of the Lubicon Cree in northern Alberta, which has been the subject of concern for United Nations human rights bodies since 1990, has become a symbol of Canada's failure to abide by international human rights standards when it comes to Indigenous peoples. Now that Canada has officially endorsed the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, what will be your party's first step toward implementing this important human rights standard? And what measures will you take to ensure that outstanding recommendations made to Canada by UN human rights bodies, such as, in the case of the Lubicon Cree, are effectively addressed?
Thank you for that question. Without a doubt, we have a lot of work to do with working with Aboriginal people and their lifestyle in reinforcing the fact that they have a place and we should be honoring whatever kind of treaties are in place and making sure that we supply educational opportunities, healthcare opportunities, and everything else that's needed by those folks. I guess all I can say to you is that it's certainly under review. Minister Duncan has taken over that portfolio about 3 months ago, and I think we see some decided change, and it's changed for the better.
Well, thank you for that question, Mona. And I think when we're talking about the status of First Nations people, and it's important to recognize the nation, that last word, nation. We're dealing with treaty obligations here, but we're also dealing with Section 35 constitutional rights with respect to First Nations and Métis and Aboriginal peoples. And it is absolutely shameful right now that there are hundreds of reserves in this country that are under boil water advisories, and that this has been going on for decades. And it's shameful that there are women in this province, in particular in northern Saskatchewan, women that don't have access to family doctors in respect to maternal health, and that in Canada, the rate of women who die in childbirth is worse than it is in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And for me, I think that's a little embarrassing, and we have to deal with that. What we're calling for, as your MP, is to build those linkages, deal with First Nations people on a basis of justice and trust, rebuild those relationships, make sure that we can adequately provide the infrastructure to get all those reserves off boil water advisories, and implement legislation that takes away the punitive 2% quota cap for First Nations people wanting to enter universities. Yeah. So, and additionally, implement legislation in accordance with Shannon's Dream to make sure First Nations people have adequate access to all levels of K-12 education, to make sure that they're not left out, that they're equal partners in this country, and that we can move ahead. We're all different in this province, but we're all in this thing together, and I think it's time we showed that element of trust to First Nations people in the future. Thank you.